want to say with more moral clarity that Donald Trump is responsible for this.
One thing about tragedies, they reveal people for who they actually are.
I'm incredibly saddened, and it is very hard to think about this.
Over the weekend, our country endured two separate and horrifying mass shootings. One of them was in El Paso, Texas. The other, as you know, in Dayton, Ohio. Between them, at least 31 people were murdered. One gunman appeared to be something of a right-winger. The other supported Elizabeth Warren. So there's no obvious ideological lesson to draw from all this. Yet that hasn't stopped the usual power-hungry morons from trying to leverage human pain for political advantage. Watch the vultures circle.
You don't get mass shootings like these. You don't torch mosques. You don't put kids in cages until you have a president who's given people permission to do that. And that's exactly what's happening in the United States of America today.
White supremacy is a domestic terrorism threat, and it is the responsibility of the President of the United States to help fight back against that, not to wink and nod and smile at it and let it get stronger in this country.
We have a President of the United States who has embraced white nationalism, okay?
I want to say with more moral clarity that Donald Trump is responsible for this.
When we allude to people as an invasion, we are directly pulling from the language of white supremacy. Directly pulling from the language of white supremacy. So I don't want to hear the question, is this president racist anymore? He is.
So 31 are dead tonight, and the only thing that these people can think about is how to terrify Americans into voting for them. These are our so-called political leaders. They're disgusting.
I'm incredibly saddened, and it is very hard to think about this. I'm incredibly saddened, and it is very hard to think about this.
Okay?
They're also totally unimpressive, unequal to the task of fixing a society that on some days seems on the verge of collapse. Maybe that's why they spend so much time trying to divert our attention from America's actual problems. They don't want to talk about what's really making us sick. They have no answers. They'll tell you it's about Trump. It's all a joke. These people are not serious. They're children. But for tonight, for right now, we'd like to take a break from all that, a respite from the partisan circus to think more broadly about what's actually happening here. Nobody really believes this is about Donald Trump or assault weapons. If only it were that simple. Our problems are far deeper than that. So what's the real diagnosis? James Howard Kunstler, one of our wisest cultural observers, summed it up this way, quote, "This is exactly what you get in a culture where anything goes and nothing matters. Extract all the meaning and purpose from being here on Earth and erase as many boundaries as you can from custom and behavior, and watch what happens, especially among young men." Kunstler's right. Young men are the problem. Many of our boys are living in what Kunstler describes as an abyss of missing social relations. No communities, no fathers, no mentors, no initiations into personal responsibility, no daily organizing principles, no instruction in useful trade, no productive activities, no opportunities for love and affection, and no way out. So that's the real problem, and every one of us knows it. Our leaders are too cowardly to say so, but the signs are everywhere. Mass shootings are just the final manifestation of the problem. Suicide rates for young Americans are the highest ever measured. Millions are dependent on drugs, legal and illegal. 15% of all millennials still live at home with their parents. So it's not surprising that millions of them feel helpless, miserable, and alone, because they are. They lack friends or parents or religious organizations to give purpose and moral coherence to their lives. They live in a suffocating culture that they feel no control over. Most people think our democracy is fake, because in some ways it is. The policies they live under, the jobs they hold, even their personal opinions are totally controlled by the tech monopolists, the media scolds, Washington bureaucrats, people far away. America is supposed to be a free country, but millions of young people look around and they feel like they're trapped in a stagnant dystopia. In an environment like this, a few people will lash out in violence. Millions of others will simply fade away from suicide or overdose or diabetes. The real crisis, the one that produced these horrifying scenes on television over the weekend, is that. It's a long-term crisis. It's been unfolding for decades. Washington is happy to pretend it's not happening at all, but it is happening, and you can't ignore it forever.
Okay?